Wi-Fi. Greetings, mighty companions. Anna Kujawa here, and it is Monday, and I am here at Miracle Park, not down at the Rocky Mountain Miracle Center. Got the COVID restrictions going on, so I may be up here on Mondays for the time being. So this is Miracle Mondays with Anna Kujawa. We are doing a Course in Miracles like we always do on Mondays. And so happy to have you joining us here today. On Mondays, I always do Miracle Roulette, where we let Spirit decide through the random number generator which section that we most need to hear today. So, like I always do on Mondays, we're going to do an opening meditation for just a few minutes or so. And during this meditation, we're going to be uniting, joining, connecting with that self we share, that spirit we share, asking this self that we share, our higher minds, what it is that it knows we most need to hear, and then we will see what Spirit chooses for us. So, if you haven't already, go ahead and close your eyes, and we're going to do an opening meditation for about 5 minutes or so. So, go ahead and close your eyes if you are able to, and take a breath, and let's call upon that self we share, our higher mind, the divine spark within us that's always waiting, always ready to communicate with us. All right. So, taking a breath, bringing your awareness out of the past, out of the future, bringing your awareness back home, allowing your mind to come back home to the Garden of Eden that is this moment now. And we take this moment now and we see it as all there is of time. It's all that's happening. It's all that's real. This moment now. Our point of power. This moment now, where all of our answers are waiting for us, where all the solutions to our problems are awaiting us in quiet, waiting for us to come where the answer already is. This moment now, this perfect, precious moment now. Allowing your mind to rest. Allowing your mind to rest and open to all that is happening right now, to all that is present right now. And we say to Spirit, Spirit, this moment now do I give to you. Be you in charge. Because I am certain that your direction, your guidance, your vision will bring me peace. Presence that lives in the present. We ask for your vision, your answers, your guidance, your peace. In this holy instant, we say yes to your help. We say yes to your answers. We say yes to your vision. And we thank you. We thank you for your endless love. And we ask you to decide for us what we hear, what we see today, now. And breathing in this presence, the feeling of the love of this presence that lives within us in the moment, the right now. Beautiful. And to that we say amen. Beautiful. Wonderful, wonderful to join with you in the present moment, the eternal moment, the eternal present. All right. So, welcome Marjorie and Carol and Irene and Daniel. Lovely to see your names and to feel your presence. We are now going to do the random number generator. And hi, Trisha. I think I saw you too. Hi, sweetie. Yep. And so now we're going to take the random number generator app and we are going to let Spirit decide for us through this device what chapter and what section that we hear today. All right. Beautiful. Hi, Terry. Lovely to see you too. Okay, so here we go. All right. So it says text and chapter 2. And let's see what how many sections there are in chapter 2. I'm in the blue book. Yeah. All right. Chapter 2, there are 8 sections in chapter 2. So we're going to put in 8 and see what it says. Chapter 8. The meaning of the last judgment. Dun dun dun. Are you ready for the last judgment? I mean, have you had enough judgment? How about the last judgment, which is love's final word.
And then there's no more?
Right, exactly. Last judgment means there is no more judgment after the last judgment. So, what we're going to hear about is the last judgment that ever need be made. And after you make this judgment, after you accept this last judgment, then no more judgment is needed. Not you judging yourself, not you receiving judgment from anyone else. When you accept the last judgment, then no more judgment. Can you imagine? The Course in Miracles says, thank you, my dear, the Course in Miracles says that you do not need judgment to order your lives. You don't need to judge in order to be safe. You don't need judgment. Wait a minute, there's something else that I could do besides judge in this situation that would keep me safe, that would make me happy? I wonder what that could be. So we are in chapter 2, section 8. Thank you, Irene, for posting that. And here we go. And as always, I love your questions. I love your feedback and your comments. Feel free to share. It's so wonderful. And if you do write a question, if you can, write it in all caps and hopefully it will catch my eye. All right. Beautiful. Irene says, the meaning of the last judgment, love's final word. No, my ego hasn't heard enough about judgments. Exactly. Beautiful. Thank you, Tricia, for also listing that. Okay, here we go. Now, as we read it, see if you can hear Spirit's very specific answer to you and what you've been going through. Whatever questions you have, whatever issue, whatever challenge or pain that you are having right now, that's your question. That's your question for Spirit. When you are experiencing pain or suffering, you are experiencing a question. Hey, Spirit, what does this mean? What is this for? What is helpful about this? What is a way to use this and see this that is helpful? Show me your meaning, your use for this, Spirit. That's the question that is being asked in whatever way you are struggling right now. All right. And usually, Course in Miracles says that whatever problem that you are experiencing, the core of it is a judgment that you have made. The core of it is a misinterpretation that you are making out of your fear. The Course in Miracles says that there is nothing that you could be experiencing or going through that Spirit's vision of it would not turn it into something beautiful, something miraculous. So whatever it is that we're experiencing that hurts and doesn't feel good, what we're asking for is Spirit's vision of it, Spirit's interpretation of it, that turns it from a problem, from a pain, into a miracle. Isn't that beautiful? There's nothing that your ego has made that Spirit can't turn into a miracle just by the way that Spirit interprets it. I love that. All right, beautiful. Hi, Jean, lovely to see you. Hi, Carrie. Hi, Bridget. Wonderful. I love it. So wonderful. I love seeing y'all's names. I really appreciate your presence here in this healing circle. I really appreciate your presence. It feels really good, and it just increases. It increases the peace power of this circle, of our joining. I love it. I wish we could all be in person here together, but this is the next best thing. Given that we're not our bodies and we don't need our bodies to join. Isn't that wonderful? Of all the things to remember during this time of seeming COVID separation, the thing that is wonderful to remember is that we are not our bodies, we are spirits, and we don't need bodies to join. Joining is not something that happens through bodies. Joining is something that happens through ideas. Ideas that are true. Ideas that are eternal. And so as we join in ideas that are loving and true and eternal, we are experiencing real joining. For real joining. All right. Beautiful. Okay. So here we are. We are in chapter 2, section 8, in the blue covered edition of A Course in Miracles. Thank you, Tricia. And the section is called The Meaning of the Last Judgment. Now, it says, one of the ways in which you can correct the magic miracle confusion is to remember that you did not create yourself. Okay? So that's the first thing Spirit wants us to remember. You did not create yourself. Thank God. All right. Since you didn't create yourself, you don't need to worry about anything. Okay? Since you didn't create yourself, you can't destroy yourself. All right. Now it says you are apt to forget that you didn't create yourself when you become egocentric. So when you're thinking from your ego, you're going to forget you didn't create yourself, which means you are not, that what you are is not up to you to judge. What you are is not up for you to judge or interpret or assess. So if you didn't create yourself, then you are, it's not up to you to judge yourself. Hallelujah. Now, when you are egocentric, that puts you in a position where a belief in magic is virtually inevitable. When you are egocentric, coming from your ego, then all that you're going to be thinking about is magic, magical solutions, magical interpretations, which means not reality. Now, then it says, your will to create was given you by your Creator. Your Creator, who was expressing the same will in God's creation. So you have a will to create. You have a will to create. You are a creator. That's your will. That's what you were created to do. Okay? When you're in your ego, you think that it's your will to destroy, not create. When you're in your ego, you think what you want to do is be afraid, judge, give guilt, destroy. But the truth, what'd you say?
A slight difference.
It's just slight difference. Now, great thing to remember. It is our will to create. We were created as creators, just like we were created. We were given a will to create. Isn't that beautiful? So you're not weak. You're not powerless. You are a powerful creator, and that's what is your will to do. The Course says that you were created to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy. That's what you were created to create. That means that's inside of you. No matter what you think about yourself, remember, you didn't create yourself. So your will is not up to you. Okay? You were created to create, not to destroy. You were created to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy, which means that is within you to extend, and you can't destroy that, no matter how hard you try, no matter what kind of magic, no matter what kind of guilty voodoo magic you believe that you have accomplished. Now, it says, since creative ability rests in the mind, then everything you create is necessarily a matter of will. So whatever it is that you create is coming from your mind. Your creative ability is in your mind. Your mind has creative ability, okay? And since you didn't create yourself, you cannot destroy that ability. You cannot destroy your creative ability. Okay? The Course in Miracles says you can try to diminish your creative ability. With your magical thinking, you can think you are powerless, that you can't create the good, the beautiful, and the holy. But you can do no more than believe that. Okay. And so in any way, shape, or form right now that you feel limited, or you feel deprived, or you feel powerless, this is the reminder for you. You have creative ability that you did not make, which means you cannot destroy, you cannot even limit it. So whatever you need, whatever you want, you have the ability with your creative thinking to create that. So don't forget that. Any perception of limitation, of powerlessness, of helplessness is just your magical thinking. The truth is that your mind will never lose its creative ability. Whatever it is that you want and think you need, you have the creative ability. You retain the creative ability in your mind to think it, to create it, to think it. If you can think it, you can create it. So I want you to ask yourself, what is it that I have forgotten that I have the ability to create for myself? Okay, what is it that I have been sad about, feeling limited around, feeling depressed around, thinking I don't have what I need and I don't have the power to create it? Okay? If you can think it, you can create it. So let us think about that which we want to experience. Let's think it. Let's think about it, right? So that we can create it. Now, it says, let's see. It says, yes, since creative ability rests in the mind, everything you create is necessarily a matter of will. Do you want it? Everything you create is necessarily a matter of will, of wanting, of desiring. Are you willing to think about it? Are you willing to imagine it? Everything you create is a matter of will. It's a matter of thinking about it, imagining it, willing it into being, thinking about it. It also follows that whatever you alone by yourself make is real in your own sight, but not in the mind of God. So if you're thinking about something just by yourself, then yeah, it's going to be real to you, but not in the mind of God. This basic distinction leads directly into the meaning of the last judgment. Wonderful. Okay. Yes. Bridget says, mind is the builder. Exactly. Exactly. So in other words, whatever we create, it's only limited by what you are thinking or not thinking. Great. Now, paragraph 2. The last judgment is one of the most threatening ideas in your thinking. Why? Because you don't understand the last judgment. That's right. We've learned a wrong interpretation of the last judgment, right? What did we learn about the last judgment? That's something God does on us, and it rarely turns out for good, okay? That's the wrong interpretation of the last judgment that we have learned, that we have invested in a lot of fear. Okay, now then it says something interesting. Judgment is not an attribute of God. Wow. That's we have projected onto God judgment to the max, right? When you look up when you open up our sacred religious texts, oh, what's it all talk about? Oh, the judgment of God, the judgment of God. God is judging you. I pray God judges me good this year. We have projected onto God judgment as if God is judging, right? Big fat projection that we have done onto God. But judgment isn't an attribute of God. God doesn't judge. God don't need to judge. God knows. And God is certain in God's knowing of us. God created us. God knows what we are. God doesn't need to go, let's see, good or bad, worthy or not. No, God created us as God would have us be. And so God is certain in his knowing about us. So God isn't sitting there judging us. That's what we're doing. And the truth is that we don't even need to judge ourselves. You know, anytime we're judging ourselves, that's us thinking that we created ourselves, as if our reality is up to us to judge. So if you really were to accept that you were created by God, not yourself, then you would never judge yourself or judge another. You would say, what am I, Creator? What am I? And you would hear the truth about what you are. So, wow. It says judgment is not an attribute of God. What is judgment? Judgment was brought into being only after the separation, the detour into fear, when judgment became one of the many learning devices to be built into the overall plan. Okay? So once we made a detour into fear, the Course calls that the separation, and we made judgment, well, then God took what we made and just built it into the overall plan for our awakening. It's like, okay, fine, you made judgment, great, okay. Even though I didn't come up with judgment, says God, that's not my thing, but since you made it, we're going to find a way to use it for good. So now even judgment is now even judgment is going to be used for our eventual awakening. Wow, that's loving. That's what Spirit and God does. It's like you made something called judgment and separation and all that. Okay, fine. We're going to build it in to use for your good. Great. Whatever you've made from your ego, whatever the ego has made, Spirit, in Spirit's infinite creativity, can find a way to turn and to use whatever you made in your fear for your good. That's how infinitely creative and infinitely loving Spirit and God is. Spirit and God doesn't go, God, why'd you make that? That was ridiculous. That was stupid. What are we going to do with that? Oh, well, so much for you. Spirit and God just says, we'll find a way to use that. We'll find a way to turn that into good if you are willing for that. Thank you, God. All right. Now, then it says, just as the separation, the detour into fear, occurred over millions of years, the last judgment will extend over a similarly long period, and perhaps even a longer period. Wow, even a longer period than 1,000,000 years. So the detour into fear, the separation, took millions of years. And so it may be that the undoing, the last judgment, may also take 1,000,000 years or more.
And
yes.
This is part of it.
And exactly. And
We're witnessing.
and maybe we're at the end of that millions of years. Who knows, right? Because it's been going on for a long time. Now, it says the last judgment. So the last judgment is a process of undoing the judgment. So there's the period of where we went into judgment We went from love into judgment. That happened over a long period of time. Then after that comes the period where all the judgment is undone. All the judgment that we made on ourselves, all the judgment we made onto the world, all the judgment we projected onto God, just the whole concept of judgment is being undone. Judgment didn't come from God. Judgment was a mistake, and it's being undone. A plan was given us by our loving Creator for the undoing of the mistake called judgment that we made and that we have been believing in for a long time. What are we suffering from? Judgment. What is being corrected in our minds? Judgment. Why? So that we can get back to the real function of our minds, which is creating the good, the beautiful, and the holy. That's what our minds were really created to do, not judge. And when we allow the undoing of judgment in our own minds, then what is in our minds as created by our mind source is free to extend, free to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy. So in any situation where you are experiencing pain, suffering, issues, challenges, limitations, you could decide that you're not going to judge. You're going to say, I don't know. I didn't create myself. I didn't create reality, so I don't know what reality is. And so I'm going to ask the author of reality, what's happening right here? What does this mean? What is the truth about myself? And experience the ecstasy and the power of the truth of reality. Okay? At any moment, if we're willing to relinquish our judgment, then we could access the miracle. We could access the creative power of our minds to create something magnificent in that moment. And the only thing that's keeping us from that is our decision to judge, thinking that we need to judge, thinking that we can judge. How can you judge something you didn't create? Okay? So I love it. So the problem is judgment. The seeming limitation is judgment. And the miracle and the releasing of your mind to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy is the decision that you cannot judge. Not that you shouldn't. You just can't. If I'm not the author of reality, I'm not the author of myself, then I can't judge this. I can't judge myself. So that's what A Course in Miracles says, that you realize not that you shouldn't judge. Judging is bad. Judging is a sin. No, not that. It's that you cannot judge. And you need not judge. All we need to do is ask for the truth of the author of reality. Ask, what is the truth of yourself? You who did not create yourself. If you're wondering something about yourself, if you have uncertainty and self-doubt about yourself, don't ask yourself what your reality is. Ask your author. Ask the author, your creator, what the truth is about yourself. If you're having fear and doubt about the reality of what's going on, what does this mean? Ask the author of reality what it means. And the voice for reality that is within you will not hesitate to answer instantaneously. Okay? That's what the voice for truth was within you, was put within you to do. It was put within you so that in any moment that you wanted the truth, the reality, the life-saving, peace-saving truth, that it would be there instantaneously. So what we're learning here is how not to judge, but to ask. Okay, so when in doubt, when in fear, when in pain, don't judge, ask. Beautiful. I love it. Okay, Irene says, from here on out, from this day forward, when I have a problem, I'm not going to judge. I'm going to ask the author of me. Beautiful, what the truth is. So I join with you in that decision. Now, it says that the length of time in which the judgment is undone can be shortened greatly by miracles. Okay, so that length of time can be shortened by miracles. What are miracles? Miracles are the device for shortening time, but not abolishing time. Okay, that's what a miracle is. So a miracle saves you time. So you could judge, or you could ask for a miracle, which is a correct perception. You could either make up the answer and the truth, which is a judgment, or you could ask for the truth, which is a miracle. And when you ask for the truth, instead of trying to make it up yourself with judgment, then it shortens the time of your suffering. Okay, good to know.
And you know, if you got the correct judgment, it could lead you to fear.
Exactly. Thank you, Greg. Greg just says that you'll know whether you're judging or asking for the truth by how you feel. So if you are in pain, still suffering, you know you're still judging. Because as soon as you ask for the truth from the author of reality, then you will be experiencing peace. Because the truth that comes from the author of reality is something that would only produce joy. The truth that comes from the author of reality only produces joy. Joy is truth. Joy is reality. Peace is truth. Peace is reality. Pain is deception. Pain is not reality. Pain is an illusion. Pain is proof of self-deception. So it will never be true that you're perceiving the truth and are also in pain. If you are experiencing pain of any kind, that means that you don't know the truth. You have judged on your own the truth, and you are wrong. Thank God. Okay? So that's what A Course in Miracles wants us to hear, is that peace is true and pain is wrong. Pain is self-deception. Pain is magic. It's a fantasy. It's an illusion. Now there will come a time when you're experiencing pain and you will say to yourself, thank God I'm wrong. I'm so happy that I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. And when you hear A Course in Miracles say, pain is proof of self-deception, you'll say, thank you, God. Thank you, God, for that reminder. I'm so grateful and thankful to hear that I'm wrong about the judgment that I've made that is producing this pain right now. Isn't that deep? That whatever it is, if pain seems real in your perception, that means you are not seeing the truth. It means you're not seeing correctly. It means you're not interpreting what's really going on. Reality is what's really going on. And reality is only joyous. It's only peaceful. It's only abundant. All right. Ashley says, pain is proof of self-deception. I am wrong, and thank God. Amen to that. Now, here's something interesting. It says, if a sufficient number of people become truly miracle-minded, then this shortening process can be virtually immeasurable. Wow. Okay, so we're talking about the last judgment apparently is a process. Just like the process of the detour into fear, our separating from reality, our separation from God, our detour into fear took a long time. It was a process that happened over many years. So is the process of the undoing of judgment. That's the process we are in right now as humanity. Okay? Humanity is undergoing the end of a judgment. Okay? So the last judgment, the correction of judgment, that is the process we are undergoing as humanity. It's also the process we are undergoing as individuals. And so as a Course in Miracles student, you are undergoing a process of the undoing of judgment. Okay? And it says, and if enough of us become sufficiently miracle-minded, then this process of the undoing of judgment can be shortened to an extent you can't even measure how much it's being shortened. Right. So, I hear that for myself. I hear that for myself as, all right, Anna, you are undergoing the process of the undoing of judgment. That's the healing process that I'm undergoing right now. And I can speed that up if I become sufficiently miracle-minded. Okay. And miracle-minded, it means I am choosing not to judge, and I am choosing to ask the author of reality for the meaning of what I'm experiencing. Okay? That shortens my suffering time. That shortens my rehabilitation time. Okay? I'm being rehabilitated. Okay? I used to be a judging fool, creating a lot of drama and pain in my experience. And then I went into a rehabilitation program, a recovery program, where all of my judgments are being undone. They're being undone. All the judgments I've made on myself, as if I knew. All the judgments I've made on others, as if I created them. And all the judgments I projected on God. Now, and I can speed that up if I want to. I love it. Trisha says, I have missing body parts, and my mind's still thinking something is super cold. I don't have those parts. The mind lies. Right on. Good job, Trisha. That sounds like a miracle thought right there. I love it. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to become miracle-minded so I can shorten my suffering. So I can shorten my suffering by becoming miracle-minded. What does it mean to become miracle-minded? It means thinking along the lines of how love thinks, how God thinks, how Spirit thinks. Okay? And if you want to know how Spirit and God thinks so that you can think like that and shorten your suffering immeasurably, then it comes from asking. Asking. Spirit, what is your interpretation of this? Author of reality, voice for truth within me, what is your interpretation of this? Hey, author of me, God, the one who created me, what do you know about me? What is the truth about me as you created me to be? If I am willing to ask and align my thinking, to change my mind to think with God, God's thoughts, then I can shorten my suffering immeasurably. Okay? That's miracle-minded thinking. Great. Then it says this. So it says, if a sufficient number of us become miracle-minded, then the whole last judgment process for humanity can be shortened in such a way that you can't even measure it. That's wonderful. Then it says, it is essential, however, that you free yourself from fear quickly. Okay? Would you like to help shorten that last judgment process for humanity? Would you like to do that? Great. That means you freeing yourself from fear. How? Quickly. Why? Why is it that if I free my own self from fear quickly, why is that essential? That's essential because you must emerge from the conflict or the fear if you are to bring peace to other minds. Okay? So, do you want to take your part in helping to free humanity from fear more quickly? Do you want to help bring about humanity's freedom from fear sooner than later? Yes, that's what you're here to do. That is your function, is to help free humanity from fear. There is no higher function. That is your sole job. That is your profession, your spirit profession. That's why you're here. And there's no profession and purpose that gives your life a deeper, greater sense of meaning than having that purpose. You will know that you are good and worthy and valuable when you have accepted your function, your spirit profession of helping release the world from fear. The world needs freedom from fear. I don't know if you've noticed this, but the world is imprisoned by fear. Well, so are you. But as we allow ourselves to emerge from the fear, as we free ourselves from the fear, then we are able to help free humanity from the fear that has imprisoned it. It says, in other words, this is how you bring peace to other minds. So that's our spiritual profession. The Course calls it our natural profession. Did you know that you have a natural profession? So whatever it is that you think is your profession, your natural profession is to bring peace to other minds. Your natural profession and your function as light of the world is to emerge from your own fear quickly so that you can help bring peace to other minds. That's our function as light of the world. When you take that function and you accept that function, then guess what happens after that? All that you need in order to do that, all that you need to make that easier will be provided. Your part is just to accept your function. Your part is not to understand how to fulfill your function. Your part is not to have to understand how to do it at all. Your part is to say, I accept my part, I accept my function, I accept my natural profession. That's why I'm here. I don't know how to do it at all, but I accept my function. Of course, as then after you accept your purpose and your function, all the means to fulfill your function are provided for you. Okay? It's so beautiful. Your part is to accept your function. The universe's part is to provide all the means for you to be that, to provide all the means that enables you to bring peace to other minds. And what more valuable, meaningful purpose for your life could there be than the purpose to bring peace to other minds, to help humanity be freed from fear sooner than later? Beautiful. Yes, Bridget says, bring peace to other minds, that is my function, indeed. I love it. Now, something that a very practical application of that is when you are experiencing some kind of conflict or upset, all you need to do is remember what your function is. So if whatever the problem is, instead of trying to figure out, well, how do I do it? How do I fix it? How do I maneuver around this? How should I judge this? How should I analyze this? How should I escape or avoid this? How should I blame this? Instead of that, all we need to do is go, my only purpose is to bring peace to other minds. My only purpose here is to emerge from fear quickly so that I can help bring peace to other minds. That's my only purpose. That's why I'm here. That's all you got to do. And then all the means for you to bring peace to other minds in this situation come. All the ideas, all the connections, all the contacts, the energy, whatever it is, gets provided. So you don't need to know how to solve the problem. All you need to do is remember your purpose is to emerge from fear quickly yourself so that you can help bring peace to other minds. Okay? Your part is to remember your function. It's the universe's part to provide all the means for the easy accomplishment of that. Wonderful. As always, what is our part to do is so very little. Okay? We are only asked to do very little. The universe does all the rest. Okay? Beautiful. Andrew says there is no other valuable purpose. Exactly. That's it. That's what provides all the meaning and all the value to your experience. If you have any question or any self-doubt about your own value to humanity, or what's my part, what's my meaning, or if you have any kind of feelings of, I don't feel like my life has meaning, I don't feel like this has meaning, I don't see the value of my life to the bigger, to humanity, feeling purposeless, this reminder, remembering this, truly brings back your own awareness of your own value and the true meaning, a true, real meaning for your life. But that's all. All right. Beautiful. Now we're on paragraph 3. It says the last judgment is generally thought of as a procedure undertaken by God. God judges. Actually, the last judgment will be undertaken by us with the help of Spirit, with the help of our spiritual teacher. So the final judgment is not something that God does. The final judgment is something we do, that we go, okay, this is it. At one last judgment, love, and that's it. It says the final judgment is a final healing rather than a meting out of punishment, however much you believe punishment is deserved. It says punishment is a concept totally opposed to right-mindedness. I'll say it again. Punishment is what? A concept totally opposed to right-mindedness. So right-mindedness, God, Spirit, does not think in terms of punishment at all. That was our idea. That was our judgment on ourselves. So the last judgment is not something God does to us. The last judgment is something that we do, where we decide, this is the last judgment, and it is forgiveness. It is love. Okay? So last judgment, this is completely divorcing the idea of judgment, the last judgment, from punishment. All right. Hi, Jerry. Lovely to see you. Jerry says, now you're going to get yours. Exactly. Beautiful. So then it says this. It says, and the aim of the last judgment is to restore right-mindedness to you. That's what it's. The last judgment really isn't to punish you. It's to release you from fear and restore you to right-mindedness. And it says the last judgment might be called a process of right evaluation. It simply means that everyone will finally come to understand what is worthy and what is not. So that's the last judgment. The last judgment is this: that is worthy, that is not. It's a process of right evaluation where you're separating the true from the false. There's no punishment there. It's just a judgment as this is true and that's false. Beautiful. Right evaluation. And when we are able to look upon whatever we have made and say, the loving is true, the hate is false, now you have made the final judgment. You have correctly evaluated, you have correctly judged, and that restores your right-mindedness. So that's the only judgment that we should be making. The only judgment we should be making is this loving or not? It's not loving, not true. That loving, it's true. That's it. And it will go on to say, we can do that final judgment for ourselves at any moment that we desire. We can apply the last judgment any moment. And so in other words, we can look upon what we have made and make the final right evaluation. This is loving, that's not. This isn't true, this is. Now, it says that everyone will finally come to understand what is worthy and what is not. That's the last judgment we'll be doing on our own lives. That's it. What's worthy here? What's not? And that's it. Beautiful. Now, after you have made that final judgment on your own life, what's worthy here? What's not? So it's not what's good, what's bad. It's what's worthy, what's not. That's it. And what's loving is worthy, and what's fear is not. After we've made this final judgment, this right evaluation on our own lives, after this, the ability to choose can be directed rationally. Until you have made this distinction, what's worthy, what's not, however, the vacillations between free and imprisoned will cannot but continue. All right. So until this is the judgment that you're making, until this is the evaluation that you're making in your life, then you won't be making rational choices. Okay? You're only able to make rational choices after you have distinguished properly what's worthy and what's not. Okay? Once that's how you're judging, you're not good, not bad, not right, not wrong, but you're like, what's worthy in this situation? Okay? Well, only the loving thoughts are worthy, and the unloving thoughts, they're not worthy. Once you have made this distinction, now you can think rationally. Now your choices are going to be made rationally, right-minded, sane, wise. Okay? So if you want to make a wise, rational choice in any situation, instead of judging it based on your past, good, bad, right, or wrong, start evaluating the situation according to what's loving in it and what's not. Once you've gone, okay, these thoughts over here are not loving at all right, those aren't worthy. And this over here is loving thoughts, great, that's worthy. Now you're going to be thinking clearly. Now you're going to be making rational choices, wise choices. Now your mind is freed from fear, and now your mind's power to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy has been unleashed, unhindered. Yes?
So what are you going to suggest when people can't even possibly see any good in the situation?
Right, exactly. Then Greg's question was, what if somebody's looking at a situation and they only see bad, they only see unloving? Then you go, then I'm completely wrong.
I'm completely blind.
I'm completely blind. I don't have a basis to make a rational choice here.
Mm-hmm.
And so I need to ask.
Right.
I need to ask. Okay. Beautiful. Great question. And until this is what you're basing your choices on, until this is the basis of your judgment on the situation or how you're analyzing the situation, until that's the basis for your analysis or your judgment, then all that you're going to be doing is your mind is just going to be going back and forth between free and imprisoned perception. Okay? So, in other words, you won't be creating anything. You won't be creating the good, the beautiful, and the holy. All you'll be doing is just repeating the past. All right, beautiful. Jerry says, I have the last judgment every day at my house. Beautiful. I love it. All right. So that was paragraph 3. All right. Now we're going to paragraph 4. All right. And Marjorie says, if it's all bad, I need to be still and do nothing but ask for guidance. So, exactly. That is the sound of happy dogs that Arya has returned. Okay. Beautiful. So now paragraph 4. So in other words, what we're saying here is that the first step toward freedom, if you're feeling imprisoned or limited in any way, shape, or form, the first step toward experiencing freedom in this situation involves a sorting out of the false from the true. Hi, honey. So, that's what? The first step toward freedom. So, if you are feeling not free right now, then the first thing you want to do is you want to sort out the false from the true. Okay? What's loving here? What's not? What's loving? What's peaceful in this situation? What of my thoughts are loving? What of my thoughts are unloving? What is true here in this situation? What is false? The sorting out. Okay? So the step to freedom, first step to freedom, sorting out the false from the true. Okay? And it says, now this is a process of separation in the constructive sense. So here you're separating out the false from the true. Remember, it said at the beginning that we made up that idea of separation, and then Spirit goes, all right, I mean, separation, that's of the ego, not true, but we'll use it. We'll find a way to make use of the separation that you came up with out of your fear. All right, you want to separate something? You love to separate? All right, how about separating out the false from the true? How about separating out the fear from the love in your perception? Okay, now that is the constructive use of separation. And it's also the beginning step of freeing yourself from the false. Whatever it is that you feel imprisoned by, that is the false. That is not true. You don't ever feel imprisoned by the truth. So we want to separate out the false from the true in this situation as the first step of freeing ourselves from whatever we feel limited by. Now, and it says, and this reflects the true meaning of the apocalypse. Oh, that's a new interpretation of the apocalypse. The apocalypse, the correct interpretation of the apocalypse, is just the separating out from the false from the true. That's it. It's just going, what's false here? What's true? Okay? And the false is what's fearful, and the true is the love. So that's all we're doing here. We're separating out what's false from the true. That's the true meaning of the apocalypse. The final separation from the false and the true. Beautiful. And it says, and everyone will ultimately look upon their own creations and choose to preserve only what is good. Just like God himself looked upon what God had created and knew that it was good. Right. So, it's saying that eventually everybody's going to do the final judgment on their own life, on their own creation. Everyone will eventually, at some point, look upon their life and go, that is true, that is false, this is valuable, and I'm going to preserve only what is good, only what is valuable, only what is loving. And that is the final judgment. That is the apocalypse. It's not something God does to us as a final meting out of punishment. It's something we do on our own lives, where we finally look upon what we've created, make a distinction between what's true and what's false, what's loving and what's fear, and we choose to preserve only the love. And that is our own freedom. That's our own freedom. That's where we release our own minds from the limitations that we put on our minds, which releases our minds infinite creativity to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy. And it says, and once you've looked upon your life and separated the false from the true and chose to preserve and keep only the true, then guess what happens? At this point, then your mind can begin to look with love on its own creations because of their worthiness. Beautiful. And at the same time, your mind will then inevitably disown its own miscreations. Okay. So this is our future. This is what everyone will eventually do. Now, it can be sooner than later if you want it to, but this is what everyone will eventually do. Everyone will eventually look upon their own lives and apply the last judgment to their own lives. The last judgment which goes, let me separate the loving from the fear, the false from the true. I'm going to preserve only the loving. And then that will enable me to look upon my creations with love. Okay. That's the last judgment where you go, it is good. It is good. Just like God looked upon us after God created us and said, it is good. Okay. We're going to do that too on our own lives. And can you imagine how your life would be once you choose to look upon your own creations, let go of the false creations that came from fear, and look upon the good, the loving, the lovable creations that you created from your loving mind and say, it is good. That is the transformation and healing of your life. Okay? So that is the final judgment. Final judgment is where you look upon your own life and choose to preserve only your loving creations and call it all good. Okay? Now, it says, and at that very same time, your mind is going to disown its miscreations. Yes, yeah, that was a fearful creation. That was a miscreation, and it was just a mistake. I let it go. I don't need to preserve it. I don't need to keep it in my memory. I don't need to keep it in my memory to give myself guilt for the rest of my life. It says, really, what's going to happen is your mind is going to disown its fearful creations, its fearful ideas, its fearful judgments, and be like, never was true, isn't true now, don't need it, it ain't real, and I let it go. I've disowned it. And I only keep in my memory and I only keep in my awareness my loving thoughts, my loving creations. That is the last judgment. Now, we do that individually in our own lives, and we also, as we do it individually, are helping humanity to be free from fear. So we're applying the last judgment to our own life, and we are helping humanity to do the same. Beautiful. And all right, so I'm going to stop here since it's 8:15, and we're going to do announcements and then an integration meditation. I love it. And Tricia says, that's easy to do if you live alone. I know, honey. I know all about that. Yes, it does seem like that it would be easier to give up judgment if you lived alone. Yeah, until you live alone, and then you see that you're still full of judgment. Still full of judgment on yourself and on the world. All right, I know. It does seem like it would be easier to give up judgment if you live by yourself.
That's what the ego wants to tell you.
That's what the ego tells you. Exactly. All right. All right. So announcements are this. I do 2 live streams a week, every Monday and Wednesday. On Mondays, like today, we do Miracle Roulette, where we ask Spirit to decide for us which section from A Course in Miracles that we need to hear. And then we let random number generator, we let Spirit choose it. On Wednesdays, I am reading and studying from the Course in Miracles, the complete and annotated edition, which is the latest edition of A Course in Miracles, which is a really powerful edition of A Course in Miracles, because the 45,000 words that were edited out of the original dictation that came through Helen Schuckman are put back into the annotated edition, the complete and annotated edition. So I do that on Wednesdays.
Where you were reading tonight,
yes.
there was 3 pages left out in between. I had to get from here
Interesting.
to find where you were again. It's 3 pages later.
Interesting.
That were left out.
Yeah, so Greg is mentioning that we were in the blue covered edition, the edited edition tonight, but in the annotated edition, there were 3 whole pages that were taken out or edited out of this section. So it's been really exciting studying the complete and annotated edition, where all the stuff that was edited out is put back in. And you're like, oh, now it makes sense. So that's so Monday, Wednesdays, 7 to 8:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, I do these live streams. And Andrew says, if you too feel inspired, please join me in sending a financial expression of appreciation to Anna and Greg's ministry. Thank you. Thank you, Andrew. I really appreciate that. Beautiful. Yes, and if you would like to do a expression of appreciation donation, you can go to my website, annakujawa.com. Go to the second page and you'll find a PayPal button, and thank you for that. I love it. And thank you, Andrew, for posting that. All right. Also, I am a holistic psychotherapist, and I have developed a psychotherapeutic niche where I offer transformational counseling to folks, Course in Miracles students, who are going through some kind of transition. They would like to get another perspective, a positive perspective of what they're going through, but they want that from a Course in Miracles perspective. And so I'm available for that one-on-one, in person, or Skype, or phone. And the way to reach me to schedule that is to either go to my website, AnnaKujawa.com. Find my phone number somewhere in that website and then text me, or you can private message me on Messenger here. And also, if you would like to support this ministry, another way that you can do that is go to my YouTube channel and hit like, share, and subscribe. That supports the ministry. It also lets YouTube know that it's valuable, and that helps me all the sooner to go to YouTube live stream, which is what I'm working for. All right. So that's the announcements. Now we're going to do the integration meditation. And I so appreciate you guys joining this healing circle where we listen to these healing ideas together. All right, so I want you to close your eyes and take a breath. And just breathe and feel. Close your eyes and just tune into how you feel right now. How does it feel to have heard these ideas from A Course in Miracles? Beautiful. Now I want you to bring to your awareness a situation in your life right now that you feel imprisoned by, you feel limited by, or a situation where there is fear. Beautiful. Now we are going to apply the last judgment to this situation. So, bringing this situation or this relationship into your awareness, I want you to look upon it with a new purpose. I want you to look upon it, and I want you to now sort out the loving thoughts from the fearful thoughts. What in this situation is loving, and what in this situation is fearful or condemning? And if you cannot see anything loving in this situation, I want you to now ask your higher self, your loving right mind, show me your loving perception of this. How does this situation look to you? What's your meaning, love? Love, when you look at this situation or this relationship, what do you see in it? Show me the good. Show me the love. Show me the innocence. I want you to sort out what's true and what's false. I want you to sort out the loving thoughts from the fearful thoughts. And I want you to now claim and decide to keep the loving perception here. And I want you to decide to just let go of the rest. Disown it. Don't need it. It never was true. It was just a misinterpretation. It was just your lack of understanding. The part that you invested with fear, your fearful perceptions, that never was the truth. Not about them, not about you, not about reality. Just decide to let it go, disown it. And now I want you to look upon the good. I want you to look upon what's left after you have disowned the judgment, condemning, fearful perceptions. And I want you to now look on this situation, look on this relationship, and know that it's good. I'm choosing to preserve only the love, only the truth in this situation or relationship. The only thing that's real and true about this relationship in this situation is the part that I look upon with love and gratitude. That's the only thing that's real in this situation or relationship. Everything else was just a misinterpretation. It was just a misinterpretation. I was egocentric. I didn't know the truth. They didn't know the truth. Everything that was fearful in this situation, just a misperception. I let it go. I'm going to choose to look upon only the loving, only the true in this situation. And I'm going to call it good. It's all good. Only the love is real. Only the love is true in this situation. Everything else is just my misperception. When I didn't know the truth about myself, I was in my ego. Beautiful. This is how you are freeing your mind from fear. This is how you are freeing your mind's creative power to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy that your mind was created to do. I'm freeing up my mind from the limitations, from the fear that I was limiting my mind with, so that my mind wasn't free to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy. And now I want you to ask yourself, now that my mind's power is freed up to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy, what good, what beauty, what love do I now want to extend to the world? How is it that I want to extend love and beauty to the world? Think about that. And breathe. And tell yourself, I did not create myself. So it's not up to me to judge myself. And I've been wrong about myself. And all the fear that I have extended is just a mistake. And I want you to tell yourself, I came here for the salvation of the world. My job, my natural profession, my function is to release myself from fear quickly and emerge from fear quickly so that I can help free other minds from fear, so I can bring peace to other minds. That's why I'm here. That's how I create the good, the beautiful, and the holy. That's why I'm here. That's my only function. And I'm perfectly equipped to do it. And all the means that I need to do that will be provided to me. I have a function that God would have me fulfill. My life has meaning. My life has purpose. The ultimate meaning, the ultimate purpose. I am not a mistake. My life is not for nothing. Let me emerge from my fear quickly so that I can bring peace to other minds and shorten the suffering of all humanity immeasurably. Beautiful. And then take a breath and bring your awareness back to the room, back to your body. I'm so ecstatic that I got to share this healing circle with all you guys. I really appreciate you using your very precious time to join this healing circle. If you would like to extend this message to more of humanity, feel free to share this on your Facebook live stream, your Facebook feed. And don't forget to check out my YouTube channel. I appreciate you so much. And I will see you next time I see you.